Hello? Hello? Hang on. Don't get your panties in a twist, would you? Hey, Bert.
What the hell is it?
Oh, I don't know. About $700, huh? Now, what can I do for you, Papa?
I'm here for the Civic. The brake drums are shot, and you need a new transmission.
What? All I wanted was an oil change.
Well, you're lucky you caught these problems now before they cause you some serious trouble. Sign right here and press down hard.
There's no price.
There will be.
I don't have a car. I have to have a car tonight.
Hey, yo! Bring around the loaner.
The loaner? The loaner?
I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life.
Howdy, partner.
Howdy, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How was your turkey giving?
My thanks day was good. We had a family get together over here, and I got tequila drunk and
Nice.
Ran a 5K on Thanksgiving morning.
Horrible.
It was bad. I know you ran one too because I put you up to it.
Yeah, you did. And then that got me like, okay, well now I got one little workout under my belt. I got to start working out some more. So I started doing my old ass CrossFit style go-to workout.
Like you have to be an old ass person to do it, or the workout itself is old ass.
Well, you have to feel like an old ass person.
You have to
do
have
it.
an old ass to do it.
Well, you just have to feel old ass. So like when you wake
Oh.
up, if everything hurts in the morning, then
Perfect.
you're an old ass. So you should go do a fucking CrossFit style workout.
Nice.
So it's something along the lines of 50 pull-ups, which I can't do. So I just use some TRX cables and do like TRX.
Like 45-degree pull-ups.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, you know what? You're pulling upwards. That's all
I
that
am
counts.
pulling upwards, and it's like I am by no stretch of the means, as Steve would say, but I would say by no stretch of the imagination. By no stretch of the imagination am I weak, but my strength to body weight ratio has never been all that great, and it probably never will be.
You and me both, buddy.
So yes, so some TRX, we'll call them TRX pull-ups. 50 of those, run a quarter mile. 50 push-ups, run a quarter mile. 50 sit-ups, which I do crunches because fuck sit-ups. 50 sit-ups, run a quarter mile. 50 squats, run a quarter mile. I have done that twice in the last 3 days.
So is that an entire mile, or is that like a mile and a quarter? I wasn't counting.
No, it's a mile. It's 4
Got it.
times. Yeah.
So you're sore, is what you're saying.
I'm like, if I poke any part of my body, it is sore, but in a good way.
That's
I
a
mean,
good
it's a
way.
productive
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I ran that 5K, and like I said, I was hungover. Probably wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done, but I signed up for it, and my wife even told me afterwards. She's like, "I didn't think you were going to do it," and I was like, "Well, ha 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 ha, I did it."
Hey, if she listened to our podcast, she'd know.
That's right.
Do it.
And it nearly killed me.
Hey,
It's
man.
sad. It's really sad. Like I ran the first like mile, and then I walked, which is there's no shame in that. There was plenty of people walking, and I haven't run. I didn't train, which is the other mistake
finished
I
it.
made. I finished it. No. I finished it in 45 minutes, which is the only other time I've run a 5K was about the same time I did that in. So I'm proud, and I'm just saying that. Then the rest of the day after that, I was just like completely assed out, dehydrated. I was like, taking shots of Pedialyte and trying to rehydrate myself responsibly, and it was kind of funny. Luckily, I had a buddy. Well, it was my brother-in-law's brother-in-law. I don't know what you call that, double brother-in-law.
Brother outlaw.
Brother-in-law, yeah, because 2 in-laws make an outlaw, right?
Yes, exactly. 2 positives make a negative, so it's a brother outlaw. For sure.
He's cool as shit. So I had
Shit
signed
really
up
that
for
cool?
it. Yeah, it's so cool, especially when it
Okay.
comes out of the freezer. I couldn't get my brother-in-law to do it, so we were getting all, night before Thanksgiving, inebriated, and I was like, dude, his name is Talon, like eagle talons.
Is that like a real name or like a nickname?
No, that's his Talon. That's his Talon. That's his name is Talon. Yep. And he's cool. He's just like down for anything. I was like, dude, you got to run this with me tomorrow. I haven't trained. And he's run a couple of half marathons and runs for cardio and stuff like that. So I mean, he had run like 4 miles on the treadmill 2 or 3 days ago. So I'm like, okay, well, you're obviously gonna be waiting on me. He's like, I don't have any gear here. I was like, well, I have a pair of shoes. They're probably a half size too big. Well, just running gear, running stuff.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
I don't know why I said gear. He didn't say that, but he said stuff. So he borrowed a pair of my shorts and my shoes and some of my socks and sweatshirt. And yeah, we went and tackled a Thanksgiving 5K. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Nice. I'm glad I did it.
Nice. So you drank tequila the night before your 5K?
I did.
Did you drink tequila after Thanksgiving?
No, I spared myself on Thanksgiving. I think I may have had.
I got to be honest. I talked
one drink during Thanksgiving.
I talked to you before. So I was at my folks' house. I think our family people arrived at 5. I talked to you well before that. So I'm going to say it was about 4 o'clock my time, which is 6 o'clock your time.
Yeah.
And you sounded like you were ready for bed.
Oh, dude, I was, yeah. That was me all day.
You were slurring your words. I
wasn't slurring my words. I was,
dude. No, but like,
I was like, yeah, that's the last time I will not properly train and hydrate before.
You were doing the Wookiee. The Wookiee.
A little bit of not really a distance run. It's not really a distance run. It's a 5K. It's like people walk them.
It's a fucking Steve Chegg sprint.
But yeah, it's more distance than I typically drive. So, yeah,
it's more distance than down the block, which is a distance run for Tim and JB.
Exactly. Now, if you want to have us lift refrigerators all day, we can do that for you and probably do it better than the housewives that are all decked out and running 5Ks. But no, it was good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it, and I want to continue to do them and maybe train for like a sprint triathlon or something like that because I enjoy biking and swimming. In addition,
we owe it to the people to sign up for a sprint triathlon.
Yeah, and there's one actually that's not too far from the old house here up in Lebanon, Tennessee. Shout out to old Lebanon. It's the Cedars of Lebanon or something like that, I think. Yeah, not Lebanon, Lebanon. Yeah, so I think I will, and my brother outlaw has agreed to do that, do things like that with me now because now it's nice to have like a training partner that's in the city that you live in because you and I, have talked about signing up and doing stuff, but we can only hold ourselves accountable over the phone, which doesn't always work. So.
Absolutely. I mean, it works to a certain.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not like, hey, dude, I'm coming over. Let's go run. You're like, hey, dude, and I just don't answer the phone.
Well, yeah, or I'm like, hey, dude, did you run?
I'm like,
yeah,
totally.
I definitely ran.
Do you want to check my little meter here, dude? I like jerked off for 4 miles.
Wow. You want to check my steps because I have this. Sweet like upper respiratory infection.
I do actually.
I'm sure you do.
It's pretty bad. I've been chugging Tussin all day to keep the phlegm at bay, or get it out of me. Either way.
You got to take the Gustafsson.
Guaifosine. Guido. Gwen. I have no idea. Gwen Stefani.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what's in Mucinex DM is acetaminophen.
And Gustafsson.
Yeah, and Gwen Stefani. Yeah.
Because Gwen Stefani makes the mucus get out. I mean,
totally.
We all know that.
Well, yeah. I mean, wasn't that like a No Doubt song?
Yeah, like I'm
Get the phlegm out. They're like
no
going in there for getting all the phlegm out.
I have no idea.
Yeah, something I don't know either.
I do think her and Blake Shelton are a weird couple, though.
That is a really weird couple. I don't understand that. Like, I mean, which makes me think she's not as weird as she comes off as, being like she's obviously a cool chick. But it just, part of me seems, that's like a, celebrity thing for ratings and all that stuff. But maybe they are just madly in love because
I don't know.
Because Blake Shelton is as country as
you've been
is.
okay. So you've been on tour with Blake Shelton.
Yeah, and he is every bit of that you see.
Right. So what I'm saying is, from what I guess to be true about him, from what I see, in addition to what you've told me about him that is actually true as a person, i.e. like playing basketball with you guys, just being who he is, he doesn't seem like a guy who would do anything for a publicity stunt. Like, he just is who he is, and that just works for him.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't be that and a smart business person,
Well, sure, but I think, I don't know. Call me a fucking idealist, but I'm going to go ahead and chalk it up to, like, just being old enough to
know better, but still too young to care.
There you go with the country title reference. No, I'm just saying, like, okay, she had something to prove when she was younger, so she did this whole thing. And granted, she was, she has a great music career. He did his thing, whatever. Now they're both in their 40s, and it's more like, hey, I like you, you like me. We're both famous, we're both good looking. Let's hook up.
Well, and they were on The Voice together. Like,
no, that's what I'm talking about. I'm sure that's how they met, obviously. But I just mean, like, when you get older, you kind of see more past the bullshit, and you kind of appreciate substance more. So maybe they're both
for
at that
sure.
point.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Pardon me for yawning. It's late, and I'm tired and old and fat.
Am I boring you, dude? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you always bore me.
I bore like at least 100 people a week. Let's be honest.
Hey, you know what? At least those 100 people are listening to be bored.
at least they keep
Shout
tuning
out
in.
to our listeners.
We love you guys. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Love, 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 love.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I was driving back from the good old Santa Barbara, and Brett calls me. He had left like an hour and a half before I did, so he's in LA, and I'm just leaving. He's like, dude, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to one of the most recent Joe Rogan podcast episodes. He has Jake the Snake on. So I'm like, all right, dude. So I'm listening to
Jake the Snake being a wrestler
Jake
for those,
the Snake
those who
Roberts,
don't,
who is a famous WWF wrestler back from, like, I want to say like the 70s to the 80s to the 90s.
He's old school, yeah, like when it started.
So like slightly before my time, but then he was still there when I started watching it. Then he kind of made a comeback, and it was actually, interestingly enough, Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you know of him. He actually beat Jake the Snake in a match where Jake had come back as kind of a altered persona from his original persona, and that was kind of where he got his sort of bravado to create the persona that Stone Cold Steve Austin is known for. Anyways, so Jake the Snake was, his whole thing was he always had a snake, and it was funny because he talks a lot of, if you guys are interested.
His snake's name Jake?
No, it's funny, dude. They were saying like every 10 days he had to like trade in the snake for a new snake because just all the traveling and shit was so hard on the snakes. He had to continually trade out for a new snake just so that he didn't like fucking hurt or kill the snakes. So early on in his career, he used this just. Now the funny thing is, he's like, oh, people ask like, what about the snake? He's like, didn't you idiot notice that like this snake is like 5 feet shorter than the last snake? So he had a big ass python. Obviously always a different python, but he always had a big ass python, and he would like go grab it, and like after he pinned somebody, he'd throw the snake on top of them. He'd have the snake. It was just it was his thing. He always had the snake with him.
Literally. So the snakes were like terrified. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. And pissed off. So they would like bite and stuff. And if you know anything about a python, like they're not poisonous, but like, dude, they have nasty ass teeth, and there's plenty of videos of these pythons biting people. So at some point, carrying around this python that probably weighed a few hundred pounds, like got hard to do. So he switched his python out for a cobra. So I'm thinking, okay, they probably take the cobra's fangs out, right? Well, apparently not. So they took the cobra's like poison sacs out, so the cobra is no longer poisonous, but cobras still have, I think they have fangs, but they also have teeth, like normal teeth.
The cobras spit, though, don't they?
Well, spitting cobras spit. I don't think he had one of those.
I thought that all cobras spit.
No, just spitting cobras. And spitting cobras aren't as cool as like your kind of quintessential...
Like the ones that the snake charmers in
so the ones
the
that the
ancient
snake charmers,
lands.
the ones that the snake charmers have are just your regular, I think it's called a monocled cobra, because they have that kind of weird sort of design on their hood. But the ones with like the big fancy hoods that, they spread out their hood.
Yeah.
That's not a spitting cobra. Spitting cobras don't have hoods from what I understand. I could be wrong, dude. I don't know.
Who knows? We're not
typical
snakeologists.
Quintessential cobra. Would that be a herpetologist?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Your quintessential cobra is a monocled cobra. They have a big, fancy, cool-looking hood. They could bite the shit out of you. They're pretty poisonous, and they do not spit. A spitting cobra spits. I don't know if they have a hood or not. Doesn't matter. Then there's the king cobra, which is like 17 feet long and ginormous and also has a hood and can bite the shit out of you. He had like a regular cobra, so we're talking 4 or 5 feet. So they took the poison out, but they didn't take the teeth out. So I guess there's some pretty crazy videos, especially of one where it bites Macho Man Randy Savage. And I guess before the match, Randy Savage must be a conspiracy theorist because he came in. He's like, "Well, man, I need you to prove to me that there's no conspiracy to take the Macho Man out by some snake poison. So I want you to let the snake bite you right now." He's like, "Dude, really? Like, we're in the locker room." He's like, "Nope, do it." So he like took the snake out, let it bite him on the leg, so like Savage could see if it's not like a poisonous. Anyways, I'm going way off.
That's pretty way off topic, but that's pretty. I don't know. That's manly and way committing to your craft. So there, letting your snake bite your leg.
If you're interested at all in Jake the Snake Roberts, go listen to Joe Rogan. I think it's 1250 or something. Whatever episode it is, go listen to that Joe Rogan episode. It's really interesting. But one of the reasons he had him on is because he had been an alcoholic, addicted to drugs, and his body was trashed from all the wrestling. But Diamond Dallas Page, who, if any of you know, is also a wrestler from back in the day.
DDP Yoga. Yeah.
He has DDP Yoga, where he basically had a lot of injuries, was very limited physically, and he started studying yoga to bring himself back to his prime physically. So after that, he decided to do something called, I think he called it his accountability crib. So he set up his house or a house, I don't know if it's his house, as an accountability crib. He picked 2 ex-wrestlers, Scott Hall, which you might remember as Razor Ramon, and Jake the Snake Roberts, who were both, I know Jake the Snake was addicted to cocaine and he was an alcoholic and his body was just trashed from wrestling. So basically over a period of a few years, and I guess they made a documentary about it. He took these 2 guys and brought them back to their physical prime, cleaned them up, helped them get sober, yada, yada, yada. So the interesting thing about this was, in those 3 years, Jake the Snake, I think, relapsed like 3 or 4 times. But DDP never gave up on him. So because he was so used to people giving up on him, he expected every time he relapsed to be the end. But because DDP never gave up on him, he kept, he got back to the course and then stayed the course.
Yeah, which in turn is plays to our topic this week of maintenance.
And a beautiful segue.
Thank you. That was really bad.
No, but you got it. It flowed.
Yeah, I just didn't. I wasn't going to go put the other side of it, so I just blurted it out.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
all I was looking for.
Cool. Well, at least I recognize it this time. Yay!
Insert applause here. What?
So I've been thinking about this lately, and
this is your topic idea. So
as you grow older, the idea of maintenance, and when I think of maintenance, I think of you've got to maintain your car, you've got to maintain your house, which are very, very real things that you have to do, but the idea of maintenance goes so much deeper into physical maintenance, maintaining your body, mental health maintenance, maintaining your mental health.
Absolutely.
And I figured that was a good thing to talk about because as an adult, I'm still just figuring out that needs to happen. And I feel like there's people, especially in this day and age where things are so, use it once, throw it away. You don't really need to maintain anything because you're just going to buy a new one when it breaks. I'm saying I tend to fall in the category of kind of doing that with things that need to be maintained, i.e. my mental health, i.e. my physical health. You don't equate you got to take your car in to get it serviced. That's one thing, but I didn't really put the two and two together. It's like, oh, okay, well, I got to go to the doctor too. It's like, my body is just another thing that I need to live my life, obviously. And this may sound really silly, but I figured like that was something that would be really good to talk about. So that's why I brought that up.
No, and I like it. And I think that, like you said, we live in a culture of everybody's looking for quick wins. And there's that whole like, oh, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change. And that sounds stupid, but it's true. And that goes for so many different things. And like, coming from a place where I've made some huge changes in my life, both mentally and physically, I've certainly, had some struggles with, so I lost 180 pounds, but then guess what? Like if I don't, like that weight could come back. And like, I've certainly yo-yoed with 10 or 20 pounds here and there. Like it's certainly easier to gain it than it is to lose it. Also, like, we've talked about on this podcast, you guys never heard me when I was like super negative, Tim, but I'm sure JB and Steve have obviously referenced it. It's easy to fall back into that too. And I won't say it's a constant battle because that makes it sound negative, but it is.
I mean, there's definitely resistance there. You want to fall back into your old negative ways. And that is a battle. That's absolutely a battle. And you're fighting off the negativity. And you're having to maintain, the tools that you have to do that with.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think society, and we talk about this all the time, and they even talked about it on that Joe Rogan podcast episode, but society, the news, Facebook, everything is so negative. It's so easy to, I don't want to say they want you to, like the ominous they want you to fall into that. But, it's kind of easy to think that maybe they do, whoever the hell they are. But I think that it takes a little bit of work to stay the course, to, if you fall off the wagon, get back on. But it's so worth it. And I think you have to just always keep your eye on the goal, keep your eye on the ball. It's so important because no matter what changes, you could come so far, but it's so easy to just fall back into wherever the hell you came from and kind of throw all that away. But I think that if we want to become better people and a better, make the world a better place, we're always going to have to be, on good days, it's going to be easy. But just like we say, winning never builds character. It's losing that builds character. Not the actual losing, but what you do with it. And I think that's kind of the battle all along. No matter what it is, if it's your health, if it's your weight, if it's your mental health, if it's just your happiness or your ability to be a dad, a husband, a wife, a friend, a mother, a whatever it is, that we have to just every day, you got to wake up and keep focusing on. And like we said, every day get a little bit better. But even if you have a goal, say it's lose this many pounds like mine was, but you still have to keep doing that.
Well, and equating it to, like, say, your car or a house, maintaining the things that will help you get to that goal. You want to keep a roof over your head. Okay, say a windstorm comes. That's that negative part, and it blows a couple shingles off. All right, you've got to maintain your roof. Say, and to kind of parallel that, say you are on a diet and you're doing really well and you lose a bunch of weight. All right, well, the holidays come along. All right, well, for instance, I'm saying this because this is basically me. You have a bunch of eggnog and, turkey dinner and pie, and you have like 3 different pieces of pie. All right, well, okay, so it's not the end of the world. You are going to get back on that track and maintain your progress. That's
Absolutely.
putting those shingles back on that roof to be able to keep that roof over your head. It's the same thing. It's maintaining your course too. That's another aspect of maintenance.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, it kind of goes back to the whole, if a plane is flying from, say, San Diego to Hawaii, I believe technically, if we drew a line that plane was supposed to fly, that plane is off kilter or off course 95% of the time because they're always constantly, adjusting to wind speed, adjusting to wind direction, and they eventually make it to Hawaii on that same line, even though only 5% of the time were they actually pointed in the exact right direction of that line. And I mean, that's kind of, I feel like how life is. We want to get to a certain point, but not only get there, but stay there. Say it's, a level of health, maybe it's weight, maybe it's some sort of other measure of health, or maybe it's just, maintaining happiness or some sort of homeostasis. You're always going to be a little off kilter, but you just have to keep adjusting. And as long as you're always adjusting, I feel like JB mentioned, if you have that eggnog and some pumpkin pie, it's kind of easy to get back on course if you just do it the next day. But it's when you let it go too far off course that it gets harder to kind of bring it back to the course. And not that is a lost cause either, because that happens. It's happened to me. It's happened to JB. Happens to all of us. But I think just kind of knowing that you're never there, we're never at the goal, because we're always trying to get better.
Yeah. Well said.
All right.
This is going to be a short episode.
No shit, dude.
What else do we have to say?
I have no idea, man. It's been a long day.
It has been a long day.
So, I mean, I think that I think a lot of it comes into, there's all these, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, there's all these sort of, we always want the quick win. And, there's these like Tony Robbins, and not that any of this stuff is bad, but, it's like 30 days to personal power, or 10 steps to happiness and all this stuff. And I think so much of the time, or if any fad diet, like lose 30 pounds in 30 days. Okay, that's great.
Then what?
Exactly. And that's what we kind of need to think of. And I think it maybe makes the task seem daunting that, well, a 30-day program or a 10-day program or a 10-step program, like I can get on board with that. But if you're telling me that I have to also maintain that shit the rest of my life, and that's going to take work, like that's daunting.
Well, and I think that's what like the fitness industry and even the mental health and the self-help industry thrive on, are these people doing these brash changes and having them not maintain the results, because then, and I'm not saying that everybody's like that, but in an interest to sell product and books and programs and stuff like that, you're going to want people to try something and see results, and then not that they want them to fail, but they bank on the fact that they're probably not going to maintain that, because much like if you were to sell a product that lasted the person their entire lifetime, they wouldn't have to buy another one.
Absolutely.
So they wouldn't make any money. So that's the thing here, is that, when you look at these, like you said, lose 30 pounds, instantly, 10 days to a better you, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, that's great. But they don't necessarily always give you the tools to maintain that. Or they know if they do give them to you, they know that you're probably not going to use them.
Right.
Because, we get complacent. We're like, oh yeah, I lost the 30 pounds. This is great. I can go back doing whatever I was doing.
I could go back to drinking eggnog and eating pumpkin pie.
Exactly. And that's the kind of the paradigm shift that I think I personally am dealing with right now, is realizing that, once you do these things, it's a complete change. Like you said, like a lifestyle change. And like, as much as cliched as that sounds, it's absolutely true, because if you want to maintain those results in whatever you're doing, you're going to have to continue to keep doing those things that got you there.
I'm right there with you, man. I mean, 10 years ago, without surgery, I lost 150 pounds.
Yeah.
I got super complacent. I got arrogant. And over the next couple of years, I gained it all back. And then here I am 10 years later having, I had to do it again. And I think I have the wisdom, the maturity, the presence of mind to not let that happen again. But it's still like, a week or two goes by and I get a little off track and I jump on the scale and I'm like, ooh, I gained 7 pounds. That's time to fix that. So now I'm in a place where I think I understand that I do need to sort of course correct regularly. But I think that's kind of the mindset that we need to get into and that I would like to instill upon our listeners.
Well, and I think that's the kind of like I was talking about earlier, the missing ingredient in a lot of these programs and books and products and stuff like that is these minor, like you're saying, minor course corrections that, it's kind of a mental health thing. It's like when it's dealing with minor setbacks, say you're doing really well. For example, like I'm the kind of weird, I have this weird thing where if I'm going to the gym, like I need to go every day because if I stop one day, then it's like this like weird, I broke the streak and I need to start over again, which is so stupid, but that's how I see it. So I think a lot of people have that sort of thing where it's like, okay, well, I didn't do it today, so I'm not going to do it tomorrow. It's like, so you kind of get like, off the rails. Well, what you need to do is not get so discouraged if you don't do that. Be like, okay, well, there's your little course correction. All right, I'm going away from my goal slightly. So I'm not doing a day. Well, I'm course correcting back. So like you said earlier too, if you don't go for 2 or 3 days, that's not a bad thing either. All right, you're just a little bit farther off course. So yeah, you're going to have to work a little harder to get back there, but at least you're pointed in the right direction.
Well, and I think it comes down to, there's a lot of things, but I think discipline is one of them. I mean, like Jocko, for instance, like he still exemplifies an insane amount of discipline, and that's inspiring to me. You look at someone like David Goggins, he's literally done everything he set out to do in life, and he still says, like, he makes it a point to do something that sucks every day. So he remembers the hard work that he put into getting where he is. And I think there's a lot of power in that. But I think it's just, it comes down to just having discipline, but also reminding ourselves that there's no finished. Not that we shouldn't celebrate our wins, but you are a project. We are a project that is never a finished project, because the minute that you stop working on it, then we stop getting better. And then,
that's what happens to people is they get what they want, and then they realize, all right, well, maybe it wasn't that I wanted. I mean, we've talked about this before too, where it's like get to your destination and it's like, well, I'm still the same person. I don't feel fulfilled. I have this thing. I reached this goal. I did this thing, maybe it is you didn't set your goals lofty enough, or maybe you didn't it didn't take the amount of effort that you thought it would to get there, so it doesn't mean as much to you.
Maybe, yeah. I think there's a lot of different hypotheticals. I think it could also have to do with, I think we have a lot of little allowances and self-pity. I mean, I ate carbs for breakfast, so I might as well eat carbs all day. And like, maybe that comes from little allowances because maybe I miss carbs, or maybe it comes from kind of like a lot of times, and we even have talked about this, how we kind of live in the black and white. Well, I didn't do this goal, so today's fucked. This week's fucked, so I might as well just go off the rails.
Exactly.
When I think we need to live a little bit more in the gray in this sense, and understand that, hey, it's never. It's, the race.
You can course correct within the span of a day.
Absolutely.
You can, it's not over. It's like, actually it's better if you do, because, say you have a terrible breakfast. All right, well, you move on. You eat a good lunch and a good dinner, and you're 2/3 of the way better than you would been. Have you, thrown the whole day away,
Or you fucked the whole day and you ate 10,000 calories. And you're like, well, I might as well not even go to the gym. No. Go to the gym and burn 2,000 calories, because then your net was really 8,000 calories, which you're, 6,000 over where you were instead of 8,000. And that's a win on some level. So I think it's just a matter of continuing to kind of check yourself and check where you are. And honestly, it comes down to, surprise, surprise, accountability. Hold yourself accountable every day. Even when you're at your goal or you're at the finish line, That finish line is a race that's run on a conveyor belt that is moving backwards. And if you don't keep moving, it's going to pull you backwards.
Well, and think logically and not emotionally about the situation that you're in too.
Very logical.
You know, like you said, like, okay, well, I just ate 10,000 calories. I'm not going to go to the gym because the day's fucked. No, you know, I could go and knock out, you know, a fifth of that.
Yeah.
And still, you know, and that would help me tomorrow too, because, you know, so it's like thinking about that logically rather than emotionally will help you, you know, break down and course correct back to where you were going, because it's not, you don't give up, you know, giving up is the emotional way of looking at it. And, you know, going and doing what you were supposed to do in the first place is the logical way, course correcting back to where you're supposed to go. So,
and don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't think you failed, because it happens to everybody. You know, don't do this whole, oh, well, I screwed up. I guess I'm just destined to fail. I mean, I've been there. I've had that thought process before.
And if, yeah, here's a way to not do that, is realize that 90% of the people out there are doing that. So if you don't do that, you're that much farther ahead of the people. Not that it's a competition, but if you think that, you know, okay, this has gone well, you know, there's so many people that think that way. So just don't be one of those people, and you'll be way ahead of the pack.
Right. And it's, I mean, if this is a competition, it is like, that is one example of, it is so easy to do and think at a slightly higher level than the common person. Because most people do think, oh, well, I got off track, I'm just going to stay off track. So if you can get off track, even if you were off track for a whole week or a month or a year, it doesn't matter. If you feel like you have the discipline and the willpower to get back on track, get back on track. And, you know, I think accountability, obviously holding yourself accountable is a big thing, but, you know, have an accountability buddy or a group of people that hold you accountable. I mean, that's what JB and I and Steve try to do. You know, JB had this idea of starting to work out again. And so, you know, now we're doing it. We're holding each other accountable. And sometimes it sucks. Sometimes I look at, you know, the phone rings and it's JB. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to talk to JB. I didn't work out today. Oops. But no, I pick up the phone. I'm like, fine, I'll go work out.
Well, and it's not like you have to go and do something crazy. It's just go doing it. It's the act of going to do it is a win in the first place. It's those small goals that you set for yourself. Because once you actually do that, even if it's just a little bit of a workout, it's okay. I set that precedent for tomorrow. You know, or if you get there and you're like, okay, well, I got past that little hump. Now I feel like I can do a good workout. Then that's another win, because you're like, okay, well, exactly. You know, it's that little, it's like, it sounds gross, but picking the scab, you know, it's like, all right, well, it's gone. Now I can do whatever I need to do, you know?
For sure. And I think this is a very opportune moment to plug in an old segment that we haven't done in a while. Our good friend, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
DTRJ. That's what he goes by.
Yes, that is what he goes by. So I have a little quote from our good friend DJ, and I think it fits quite perfectly. And we may have used it before. I don't know, but you know what? It's applicable. So if you forgot it, you're welcome, because I'm reminding you. Because guess what? We're course correcting on our quotes.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking, the Rock says, the Rock says, the Rock says, the Rock says.
So the quote goes as such: put in the work today that others won't, so tomorrow you can accomplish what they can't. So think about every day like that. Like maybe this run hurts, maybe this workout hurts, but I'm doing something today that maybe I don't want to, or that other people aren't, so that tomorrow, obviously tomorrow can be a literal or a not so literal term, but so that tomorrow I can do what they can't and what I can't today, because I'm doing today what I need to do so that tomorrow I can do that thing.
Well, and if, you know, that's a very competitive way to look at it, which is sometimes how you need to. And maybe it's not even some other people. Maybe it's like, do today, you know, what you thought you wouldn't be able to do, so that you can do what you thought you couldn't do, you know? So, I mean, you're almost competing with yourself, you know?
Absolutely. I think you're always competing with yourself. I think that's great. And do today what will allow you to do do today what you might not do or might not want to do so that tomorrow you can do what you could not do if you didn't do that thing. I'm making it more complicated than it really is. But you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's exactly.
Yeah.
Just to not make it so, I mean, yeah, for sure.
Excellent. I think, honestly, it also comes down to redefining. I mean, just like every one of our topics kind of loops into other ones, it's all about redefining failure. I think that too often, if we're on a course, we get off course and it's like, well, I failed, so I guess I'll just stop trying.
Well, it'd be like the example of the plane flying to Hawaii. It's like there's probably like 400 different opportunities for that plane to be like, oh, I failed.
Exactly.
I'm going to turn around and go back to the airport. It's like, no, if you really want to get to your goal, you got to keep course correcting.
Exactly.
So, being off course is not a failure. It's just an obstacle.
No, it's like, and we've said this time and time again, despite the fact that he may or may not have been an asshole, but there's a famous Thomas Edison quote that says, I never failed. I just found 10,000 ways it didn't work, or something to that effect. And I think there's huge power in that. If you look at, and again, we've talked about so many different examples of people who didn't let failure stop them. I mean, David Goggins is another one, Colonel Sanders, Michael Jordan. I mean, pick your success story, and I'm sure there's 1,000 failures to go along with it. But if you just see it as a course correction, then it sort of changes your mindset. And then it's like, okay, well, hey, I just ate, I don't know, a donut or a dozen donuts or 2 dozen donuts, whatever. I didn't fail. I just need to course correct. So,
well, think of it as bumper bowling.
Dude, exactly.
Just because the ball heads towards the gutter doesn't mean it has to go in.
No, it just bumps and
put up that bumper and it'll bump back or bounce back in. So utilize your bumpers, people.
Yeah. Utilize your bumpers. And even if for somehow you get a gutter ball, because the ball goes just past where the bumper ends and then it still goes in the gutter and you get a gutter ball, guess what? That ball still comes out the little thing and you get to go again.
Mm-hmm. For another 10 frames.
Because nobody is bowling a perfect game in this bowling analogy that we are currently using. So, and it's not a 10 frame game either. It's a never ending bowling game. So you always, always, always have the opportunity to fix your game, but you have to look at it like that. You can't look at any sort of small hiccup as a failure, or maybe it's a failure, but you're like, hey, that's just going to get me back on course, because you don't fail until you don't actually fail until you quit.
Exactly.
Do.
Okay, now I've really run out of things to say.
So have I. So, kind of to sort of wrap this topic
In
up.
summation,
I think that, life is a journey. And there's lots of checkpoints along the way, and we should celebrate every checkpoint we hit. But the journey is never ending, so we're always having to strive to get there.
Well, and here, sorry to interrupt, but
go for it, dude.
In the sort of the interest of maintenance, think of it as a car. Think of your life as, your body, whatever it's a car. How long do you want that car to run? Do you want to drive it with no oil and no grease and anything? It's not going to last very long. You need to maintain your body. You need to maintain your mental health. You need to maintain the things that help you get to where you need to go. You need to maintain your car so that you can get to work, so that you can make money. Mm-hmm. Everything is so interweaved. Exactly. Yeah. So that you don't get set back to have to spend more money on a new car. There's so many things that we have to maintain in this life that it can get daunting at times, but if you maintain them, if you do the little tiny maintenance steps along the way, it makes it a lot easier. Mental health. If you speak to a counselor, or if you just be able to vent to people, Tim and I talk very regularly, and it helps both of our mental health because we get to vent and we don't bottle things up and have it explode later on down the road. That's very helpful because, people do have mental breakdowns, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't, because there's a lot of people under a tremendous amount of stress. But if they were able to maintain some sort of mental health regimen along the way, it probably could have helped them out in that regard. So think of your progress. Think of maintaining the things that help you get to where you need to go.
Absolutely.
And it'll be a lot easier for you to get there.
And wherever your course lies, no matter how far off course you get, I don't think you're never too far away to get back on course. I mean, I let myself get to a point where I had to lose 180 pounds, and I'm still not done with that. And that was how I got, that was my course that I was trying to get back to. But, like I said, I lost 150 pounds 10 years ago. Had I not gained that all back plus more, I could have course corrected, and it would have been slightly easier than having to lose it all plus more again later. So, if you're on a course and you're kind of close to the course you want to be on, if you get a little bit off track, just, check yourself, keep some accountability on yourself, and you know what, give some information to your buddies or your friends or your family to also help hold you accountable, because if you can make little corrections before you get too far off course, that's going to be a lot easier. But even if you do get too far off course, don't let that set you back, because no matter how little or great the correction is that you need to make, you can do it. And if we can help, hey, we're here to help. But you certainly have people in your life that are willing to help and that are there to help. But just think of the plane to Hawaii. They're off course a lot more than they're on course, but they still make it. And that's kind of how we need to work our goals, work our plans, and live our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no day's perfect, or at least 95% of our days aren't going to be perfect. But you know what? We hold ourselves accountable. We keep ourselves in check. And we just continue to operate like, hey, we got to make it to that island. Otherwise, we're going down in the water. So whatever I have to do to get back on track and stay on track, that's what we're going to have to do.
Well, and it's accessible. It's not difficult. It's just a small thing you have to do. It's turning your head the right way. It's making a small decision to get back and go the other direction. So
I mean, look at this podcast. We've certainly been off track 95% of the time, but
I'd say 99, but hey,
probably,
we're still doing it.
Hey, and you know what? We try to hold ourselves accountable, and we hold each other accountable, and we've made it, except for maybe that one weird, what was it, episode 19 or whatever, except for like one time, I think we have come out with at least one episode every week for almost a whole year now. And there's been times when it has not been easy. There's been times when, Saturday night when I have to release an episode about 24 hours from now, JB and I are on the phone recording an episode about a topic that JB's wanted to do for a while. But we're always doing whatever we need to do. And we're always going to try and bring you guys the most value that we possibly can. But we're not going to let anything get in the way of providing you something, because we owe it to you. And you owe it to yourselves to provide yourself value and to do whatever needs to be done to stay the course, no matter how far off course you've gotten.
Yeah, even if you just see us as the opportunity to take that first step, that's all that we can hope to be, is the fact that, hey, those guys are constantly taking that first step again. But hey, you know what? We're doing it. So.
Well, and look at every episode that we come out with that Steve or JB or someone isn't on, or that I have to release some sort of a phone call I recorded from JB. That's us trying as best we can to course correct. And sometimes we get back on course, and sometimes we make up for the correction that we needed to, and sometimes we don't, but we're always trying. So you know what? I think this is a perfect example of, hey, we're not perfect. We're just trying to make it work, and we're just trying to get to that damn island. So, take some solace in that, and understand that, not that I think anybody thinks we're perfect, but hey, if you did, guess what? We're not even close. We're always trying to make ourselves better, make this podcast better. And we're just trying to get to that fucking island so we can land this plane and then take off and go to our next little journey, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll leave you with that.
Yeah.
Hope you guys have a great week or whatever it may be. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate you. This is where I just wait in silence for JB to say something.
Yeah.
Possibly his tagline.
Yeah. Y'all be good.
There we go. Yes, be good. Be good to one another. Be good to other people, strangers, whatever. Doing nice things for others will make yourself feel better about yourself. I guarantee it. So we'll leave you guys with that. Have a good one. And until we talk again, bye.
Peace out.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.
I'm your maintenance man. Oh yeah. I'm your maintenance man. Oh yeah. Listen, I hear you've been looking for a fix-it man, a man that can do it all. From changing out all your plumbing to putting plaster on your wall. Now your switches may be broken. You may need me to fix your phone. If your love been in the dark, girl, I can get you turned back on. You done had a jackleg plumber, but he couldn't do it right. He left you all backed up and mad and had you leaking round your pipes. I do my best work in the nighttime. Baby, you just dial my phone. I'll meet you in your bedroom with nothing but a two-belt on. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. That's what I am. Your maintenance man. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. Oh yeah. Your maintenance man. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. That's what I am. Your maintenance man. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. Oh yeah. Your maintenance man. Now you advertised in the paper. You said what was on your mind. Said you were looking for a handyman that can be to work on time. None of that leaving early or leaving the job half done. Said you need a man that's long-winded and not just a hit and run. You got some that can fix your plumbing and some that can fix your lights. You got some that can do some carpenter work, but their measurements ain't right. I can fix all your problems, that's what I'm gonna do. The only thing that's gonna need some fixing is your bed when I get through. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. That's what I am. Your maintenance man. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. Oh yeah. Your maintenance man. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. That's what I am. Your maintenance man. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. Oh yeah. Your maintenance man. Now see, just putting the eyeball on it, it ain't even lined up right. It ain't plumb, it ain't true. But what I'm gonna come in here and do is I'm gonna tear all the walls out and I'm gonna rebuild that thing and I'm gonna put it back together and have you something real nice. And I'm gonna take that door off and I'm gonna shade that because it's squeaking on the edge. But if you get all the hinges, you'll be alright. See, it don't take much, you just got to know what you're doing. Now I can start it in the evening if don't nobody interrupt. I can have you fixed and ready before the sun comes up. I get the shaking out your washer. I won't leave until it's done. I shoot caulk all around your tub. I'll even let you hold my gun. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. That's what I am. Your maintenance man. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. Oh yeah. Your maintenance man. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. That's what I am. Your maintenance man. I'm your maintenance man. Your maintenance man. Oh yeah. Your maintenance man. I'm your maintenance man. That's what I am. I'm your maintenance man. Oh yeah. I'm your maintenance man.